Two Auburn Tigers are put on big preseason award watch lists.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Two Auburn Tigers are named to the Maxwell Award Watch List. One of only 4 schools in the SEC to have 2 players on the list. We're going to talk about details around that, why that's a big deal. The theme of the season. We're going to talk about the theme of the season and Hugh at the podium tomorrow. What do we expect to hear at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time when Hugh Freeze takes the podium for the first time to kick off fall camp? We're going to get into all that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to Rhoback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. Polos, hoodies, pullovers, doesn't matter. They got it all. Pants, shorts, joggers as well. Even got swim trunks. You got a little bit of summer left. You can still get your swimsuit if you're still looking for one. Save big. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. And this order, the next order, and so on and so forth until they take this code away from us. So show them some love. It's Rhoback.com. Cam Coleman, Jackson Arnold, Maxwell Award Watch List. I've always kind of been, I don't know. Anytime I see a watch list, I don't really take too much away from it, especially the position award watch lists, because they're going to put 50 or 60 players on the list. And, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of, a fourth or a third of the total players or total schools in the, in college football. So is it really that big a deal? The Maxwell Award's a little bit different because it's all positions. It's the best player in the country. I mean, it's essentially the equivalent to the Heisman Trophy. Typically, the Heisman winner wins the Maxwell as well. Sometimes it's split, but usually if you win one, you typically win both. But there's only 80 players on the watch list, period. So that's 80 players of any position, of any school across the country. Only 17 made it. I say only. It led the country. 17 players from the SEC made the list, so that's pretty good. And I think the ACC was the only conference that had as many as the SEC with another 17. So Auburn, I said in the intro, was one of only 4 teams to have multiple players. You had LSU, Texas, and Texas A&M. Those were the only other teams that had 2 players on the list. I think the biggest surprise is probably Jackson Arnold, mostly because he played in the SEC last year, and he didn't have as much success as you would probably expect from, a 5-star player taking over his first season. We've talked about the situation around him. Obviously, that's weighed in, and it seems like the people that make this list noticed it as well. And maybe they're kind of giving a nod to the move and the situation he's in and all the players around him and the roster around him, and thinking, hey, this could be the opportunity for this guy to pop. The quarterbacks on the list are pretty established. I mean, you got Garrett Nussmeier, Lenora Sellers. I know Arch Manning hasn't really had his 100% time as the lead guy at Texas, but he's on the list. DJ Lagway, a lot of hype around DJ Lagway. So you're not just on there with – it's not just every quarterback in the SEC. I mean, you're up there with some of the, better quarterbacks that are acknowledged as some of the top quarterbacks in the conference. So I think that's huge for Jackson. When you're talking about building confidence, when you're talking about trying to get your swagger back, this is a good way to do it. I mean, this is a good way to have sort of what's the word I'm going for? Recognition, confirmation. There you go. Confirmation of maybe the pathway that you believe that you can go on to get to where you want to be. So that's big. That's big for Jackson to be on that list. I think it's big for Auburn for Jackson to be on that list. It does bring more expectations. We'll talk about expectations here in just a second. But overall, I think it's a really, really big deal. Cam Coleman, that one was obvious. That one was going to be obvious. I think he was the only first team all SEC guy on the list as far as preseason all SEC. I think he was the only first teamer for Auburn. So it's no surprise that he would be on the Maxwell Award Watch List, and I think it's obviously well deserved. I mean, the way he came on at the end of last year, battled through injuries in that middle part of the season, really starting about the Cal game, and from there on, just not fully healthy, and then able to flip the switch and be able to take over games like he did in that first half of the Texas A&M game. The game he had against Louisiana Monroe and the catch that he made in the end zone, that I'll never, ever forget. I still think it's one of the best Auburn catches maybe ever. I know impactfully probably wasn't a huge deal, but as far as like level of difficulty, holy cow, it was incredible. And then obviously had a big touchdown in the Iron Bowl as well. So you could see it with Cam. Like, it makes total sense. Jackson, you're going a little bit more off potential. You kind of have seen the product with Cam, so it makes total sense. So it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal to have two guys on the list, be only one of 4 schools in the conference to have 2 guys on the list. So then now you got to go. You're going to have those extra expectations. Now you got to go do it. Baylor also, I was looking, Baylor also has 2 guys on the list. No surprise, Sawyer Robinson and Bryson Washington. Sawyer Robinson's the quarterback that is returning, who had a big year last year, threw for, over 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. Good player. So definitely not walking into a bunch of scrubs. And then you have Bryson Washington, who rushed for over 1,000 yards, averaged close to 6 yards a carry, 12 touchdowns. So no surprise there. If you got guys that put up that kind of production and then return, they definitely should be on the list. So not a big surprise. I guess when you start to see the line move like it's moved in favor of Baylor, maybe these are some things that you can point to as to the reason why. I still feel like top to bottom, Auburn's the better overall roster, but it's not like this is a bunch of bums. Okay. It's not like there's a bunch of scrubs. They've got votes to win their conference. They were really good last year at times. They got hot, I think, there towards the end of the year. And I think they're going to be tough, and it's on the road. So all that, makes a ton of sense. Then you got these preseason watch list guys on your team. So with a lot of experience, no shock there. But regardless, big deal for Auburn to get notoriety, start to get more buzz, I guess, around this team. They need it. You need buzz, and then you need expectations, and you need to have that little bit of, those butterflies in your stomach to know that, hey, I got to go out and I got to make it happen. We're going to talk about the theme of the season. The theme of the season from Hugh to the team. We're going to talk about that in just a second. We'll be back right after this. The theme of the season this year, Hugh has one every single year, and it's typically like one word, and that's going to be the theme for the season. And I think this year the theme is going to be being expectant. Expectant, which the definition is having or showing an excited feeling that something is about to happen, especially something pleasant and interesting. So when you go back early in the summer and you talk about, especially the last few years, you really felt like that the expectations the message of expectations was to, hey, we're still building. We're still building. And a comment was taken out of context, I think, early in the summer, and you're like, oh my gosh, here we go, year 3. Tampering expectations. All we want to do is make a bowl game. And then you switch over to looking at SEC Media Days when Hugh says we expect to be in the playoff conversation. And you're like, whoa, that's a big change. And I think you carry that into the season and, being expectant of expectations, being expectant of a lot of things. But overall, this team feels, this coaching staff feels like this team has the chance to be special. And why not get excited about that? Why not get excited about going to practice every day because you got a chance to achieve something special? Why not have the mindset of expecting to be good, expecting to be able to compete? Why not? I think that's really cool. That ought to get you excited that this team feels like they're going to be pretty good. And it's okay to embrace that feeling. It's okay to embrace those expectations. It doesn't have to be a negative. It doesn't have to be like extra added pressure. Be excited to embrace those expectations. Hopefully that theme carries on into week 1, and then they can win that game and then carry it on throughout the season. But I think just a big shift from we're building to now we expect to win. We expect to be competitive. We're going to be disappointed if we're not in the talk with some of the best teams in the country come November. I think when you're kicking off a season, that's probably the best foot to start on. So good stuff there. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Hugh takes the podium right before practice. It'll be the first, it's basically the quote-unquote kickoff, no pun intended, to fall camp. And it is fall camp. I had this discussion last year. Someone wanted to argue with me in the comments that it was called summer camp. And I was like, no, summer camp is what you go on. You go to like some lake with some organization and you do trust falls and you do hiking and you go to, canoeing in a lake. That's a summer camp. Okay. Fall camp is football. Am I right? Am I crazy about that? That's pretty universal, right? It starts fall camp. I don't care if it's August and it's 100 degrees outside. It's fall camp, period. So I want to go ahead and get that out there. Okay, so Hugh's going to take the podium to kick off fall camp, not summer camp, fall camp. And then they hit the practice field. I think there's going to be a lot of people in attendance for that 9 a.m. Addressing of the media. I think he's going to take questions, and I imagine there's going to be some sort of monologue. There's going to be some sort of monologue to kind of kick things off, and I'm hoping he cuts this off at the pass and just goes ahead and talks about the Malcolm situation. I obviously don't go into Malcolm Simmons, don't go into detail. We haven't really addressed it directly on this show, but it's been talked about elsewhere. I just don't like talking about stuff like that, man, especially when there's not a ton of details. It's been really quiet. That's really not something you want to speculate on because you're going to make one side of the aisle very, very angry. Something bad happened, and they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out exactly what that is. So that's what's going on. I expect Hugh to address it, and if he doesn't, it will be the first question asked. Someone is going to be, especially in the Auburn media, they're going to be chomping at the bit to be able to ask that question. So I think that's good news. Maybe you get some kind of clarity on the situation. Will Malcolm be there? Will he not? He's been posting some pictures that sort of make it seem like he's probably going to be participating or he's going to be present. But I think we get a lot of answers tomorrow morning. I think we get a lot of answers tomorrow morning early. And then other than that, I think obviously you'll probably hear a lot of coach speak, but I think there's a lot of fun things that will probably get a little bit more, I guess, insight into injuries, anything lingering, health status on a lot of players, and just overall maybe the vibe going into camp. I mean, there were a lot of injuries in spring. I don't think there are many lingering from spring into the fall other than Devin Williams, who tore his ACL, I believe. So he's probably going to be out. But other than that, I mean, I think you finally get to see Xavier Chaplin sort of start to go through practice full speed. They're not going to be wearing pads, I don't believe, but still, been waiting for Big X, been waiting for him to see him compete because a lot rides on him. And then obviously it's going to be fun to hear about and then see the quarterbacks and the receivers again. Get to see our first looks of Ashton Daniels. I think that's going to be fun. A lot of fun stuff happening. Fired up for fall camp. Talking season is almost over, and it's football season, baby. So we got a lot of fun stuff planned for football season. So definitely want to make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you can be aware of any new content that drops. Guys, I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll talk again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.